but what was it like sitting in the mixed audience for the State of the Union as opposed to what you would imagine would be just being surrounded by the rest of the Republican caucus?
Well, first off, one of the most exciting things for me when I won was that I'd be able to go to the State of the Union. Mm-hmm. I watch it, every year. It was exciting to see everyone come in, the senators, and to see the president come in and, the announcement that he's there. It wasn't as exciting as I thought it was going to be in regard to the energy in the room. And I think maybe because there was this bipartisan approach. Yeah, the bipartisan seating. That aside, though, it was great to sit with Democrats. I thought that there was great conversations beforehand. People were talking about issues that they agree on, some light jabbing on issues they don't agree on, but it was a friendly environment for the night.
The liberal left is vilifying the president in a lot of the ways because of some of the moderate tones he took. Chip Gravac said he agreed probably with 80% of what the president had to talk about. What were your impressions of the tone that he struck in the issues and how he presented them?
Well, I think the president presented a hopeful tone. But I think if you look a little bit deeper, I have some concerns about where he's going. His idea on spending is cap it at current levels. Well, we increased non-defense discretionary spending by 84% since 2008. We are going to borrow $1.5 trillion next year alone. We owe $14 trillion right now. We have to get our budget under control. I don't think the president understands how significant this budget crisis is, so I don't think we're on the same page there. When he talks about investment, he's talking about increasing from current levels this spending. For me, that's just another code word for another stimulus bill. We don't need more stimulus. Job creation truly comes from the private sector, not from government. And I think after we spent $1 trillion on that, he doesn't really get it yet. And so I think there's going to be some battles that are coming up in the future. I think the American people, as they view the Republican ideas and the Democrat ideas, they'll come down on one side or the other, and that'll drive legislation one way or the other.
Have you heard about the ruling in Florida yet?
What? No, what?
A federal judge in Florida, Judge Vinson, just ruled against the federal health care bill, saying that the Commerce Clause use was unconstitutional. Your immediate reaction when you hear that?
Listen, when we talk about the courts, I'm going to let the courts decide that. In the end, it's going to go to the Supreme Court. It's going to take a couple of years. I guess as a legislator, I look at it this way. We voted to repeal. In the next several months, we're going to bring forward our ideas for replacement. And I think there are going to be ideas that resonate with the American people and Wisconsinites. We're going to take some good things from Obamacare, like pre-existing conditions, taking away lifetime caps. But then we want to craft a bill that's going to empower people, patients, and families, and not bureaucrats in Washington.
So do you think the president was genuine and said he was open to tweaking health care but not repealing it? And would you be open to tweaking?
Well, I had talked about reforming the reform or repealing and replacing. I'll get behind whatever movement is going to get a piece of legislation that works for the American people. My concern is the positive things that we talk about with the health care bill that passed last spring is, it's 10 or 15 pages out of 2,000. It's incredibly hard to tweak that full bill, and the movement is towards a repeal and replace. One great thing I think we're going to be able to do, though, is we're going to be able to incorporate the ideas of Democrats. We're going to actually go through the committee process that never happened before with Obamacare and actually get both parties' input. We'll be able to fight about it, talk about it, have hearings on it, and from there bring a bill out of committee and hopefully to the House floor that's going to improve the process and improve health care for Americans.
Most of the debate right now is about the debt ceiling. OMB says repealing Obamacare would cost tens of millions of dollars. Is repealing the health care bill, which you voted to do, was that a fiscally responsible vote?
Absolutely. So you have to look at the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO. They only score or analyze what you put in front of them. And they scored a piece of legislation that was full of gimmicks and games. When you actually look at the full bill and you add all the gimmicks back in, this piece of legislation, Obamacare, over 10 years is going to cost us $700 billion. I mean, it's 10 years of taxes for 6 years of care. They didn't include the doctor fix, which is over $100 billion. They don't include the cost of implementation, which is around $100 billion. They use money from Medicare and Medicaid to help fund this, but then they're also going to use that same money to shore up Medicare and Medicaid. They use those dollars twice. So when you add back in all the gimmicks, this is a bill that's going to crush the American people in regard to debt. And if you actually look at it from the 10 years that it's implemented, from 2014 to 2024, we're well over $1 trillion of cost. So America can't afford it. It's not going to reduce cost. It's going to increase cost dramatically when you take away the gimmicks.
And thank you, CBO. I said OMB. Wanted to ask you, you had been in office, I don't know how long, a few moments when Gabrielle Giffords got shot. Yeah. What did that do to you personally, worrying about your safety with a very large family and kids at home?
You know, as I look at what Ms. Giffords was doing when she was shot, that's what I've been doing through the course of my campaign and what I'll be doing as the next congressman here on the 7th. You got to go out and meet people. And I think we're always at risk. If someone wants to attack me, they're going to attack me. My concern is this. You look at the number of people that were hurt, that were around her. We have to make sure there's sufficient security. So if someone's coming for me, no one else is going to get hurt. But what happened in Arizona is not going to affect the way I interact and how I go out and meet people and shake hands and hear what their concerns are and share my ideas with them.
That never gave you, you never looked at Rachel, she never looked at you and said, geez, we didn't really think about this aspect of it?
Rachel looked at me and said, geez, I never thought of this and how it can be dangerous. But you know what? I think maybe I'm naive. I think we're different. I guess I don't think there's that risk with me. Obviously, we'll be cautious. The Capitol Police give us recommendations, but the bottom line is I have a job to do, and my job is not to hide in an office and protect myself. My job is to go out and talk to people and meet with people and hear from them and share with them as well. And I'm going to continue to do that. And I think we let these folks or the guy who had the attack on Ms. Giffords, they win if we start to be shut-ins as elected officials. I'm going to go out there and work even harder to communicate with people in the 7th.
I asked you this during the campaign, and you sort of deflected it at the time, which I understood, but I'm going to ask again now. We just had the 6th.
I wouldn't. Come on, now look at this shit.
You non-answered it very well at the time, Sean. The 6th sitting senator has just joined Michelle Bachmann's Tea Party Caucus. Has she approached you, and would you join her caucus?
I have not been approached to join the Tea Party Caucus, and I'm not a guy who's joining a lot of caucuses. I'm here to do the work. I think all your time can get consumed by caucuses. There's one for everything. But if you look at what the Tea Party is talking about, fiscal responsibility, having a tax code that's going to encourage businesses to expand and grow, and businesses on this national scale to come to America and set up shop, they support me because I'm on that same page.
So would you join if she asked?
No, I'm not going to join any of those caucuses, and it's not because I don't agree with her. It's because if you join one, you join them all.
Was she wrong to give a personal or Tea Party-backed rebuttal of the State of the Union right after Representative Ryan?
No, she can. You know what? Any member can go out and give any speech that they want, and she has the option and the clout to give one that people will follow. For me, I was happy with one address that was given by our chosen individual, which was Congressman Paul Ryan. But no, she and anyone else, they have the option to go out and say whatever they want.
Okay. What's your first month been like? Let's talk about that just in generality. Has it been a whirlwind? Has it been what you expected? Or
I'm a freshman congressman. My first month in office, I'm getting my feet wet. It's incredibly long days, but they're enjoyable. We start early and end late. I'm traveling back and forth. I'm spending as few days in Washington as possible. I think it's important that I'm back here like I am this week, traveling around the district, meeting with people, sharing my thoughts on what's happening in Washington, but also getting their feedback so I can be more effective. But it's an exciting time in American politics. We truly are at a crossroads of the direction this country is going to go, and that I get to sit at that table and be part of that conversation and help mold the direction we're going to travel. It is a great honor. And as a freshman of one of 87, we are a unique group. We are a third of the Republican conference, so we have a great deal of impact with leadership. But leadership wants our input as well. They understand that I think that we're more in touch with our constituents, and we came in this movement, and there's ideas that leadership has that when they talk to us, you can actually hear them change and modify their position that's more in line with our views. And we rely on them as well, but I think you see a unique Republican team with leadership and freshmen driving this philosophy forward. And in the end, I think we're going to be successful, and it's going to be enjoyable.
Let me check my time here. Okay, one more question. Have you thought at all about your first bill? What is it going to be?
You know, I've co-sponsored a number of pieces of legislation. Yes, I have a number of things in the works within my office of bills that we are going to bring forward, but I guess I'm not going to bring that out right now because we don't know which one it's going to be.
When can we look for it? Timetable at all?
Now, in the next several months, stay tuned. We'll see. But you know what? When you do this, I want to make sure I do it right. I want to make sure I have people who are going to come on board with us. But let me just maybe do a side note. There's going to be a continuing resolution vote that's probably going to come in the next month. And we're going to go to the House floor, and we're going to talk about things that we can cut. And you'll see amendments being made all across the House floor. And through that process, we hope to participate in naming some things that we can cut back and make our government more efficient. So you'll see some potential resolutions from us during that process.
Okay, one more quick one. You said that any work on health care was going to be bipartisan. You were excited about that. Have you met any Democrats that you think this is someone I can work with across the aisle yet?
You know, I guess I've met a lot of Democrats that I think are nice, that I think when you sit down and talk about the issues when the cameras are off, yeah, we can work with them, and I think we have to take, you know, the party philosophy away and really take the American philosophy and center around that. But I'm hopeful that we're going to have a bipartisan approach, and I know that the Democrats are going to have an option to sit at the table and have their input, because I talked to leadership on that point, and I think it's going to be a far better process, which means it'll be a far better bill because they're involved, they're sitting at the table, as opposed to what happened to Republicans. This was a bill that was sprung on them, they didn't have any input, and it was rammed through Congress. I think most Americans don't like how that happened, and because we don't like how it happened to us, we are going to include them in the conversation and at the table, in the committee hearings, and therefore their ideas will be included, and the legislation will be, I think, better for America.